morning. Start your day informed and ahead. Today is Friday, the 14th of August. I'm Angela Lagunzad-Castro.
And I'm Cesca Litton-Kalaw. We are bringing you the perfect mix of the headlines you need and the conversations that shape your day.
From the news desk to the digital space, we have got you covered. I'm Pauline Verzosa and welcome to Morning Matters.
First in the news, the Justice Department is now reviewing the U.S. government's formal request to extradite Apollo Kibuloy. The DOJ says it is checking whether the request complies with Philippine law and the U.S.-Philippines extradition treaty. Kibuloy is wanted in the U.S. for several charges, including sex trafficking of children. He has denied the allegations. Chief State Counsel Dennis Chan says the DOJ must file an extradition petition before a Philippine court. The extradition case may proceed while Kibuloy's local criminal cases are also being heard.
Yung mga dokumentong na ipasa sa amin ay pasok doon sa nakasaad sa RP-US extradition treaty, then we will proceed to file the petition. Now, the court where the petition will be filed will now have to determine whether yung mga pinasa ba nating petition and the supporting documents are compliant with the extradition treaty, and if found to be compliant and all the other elements are established, then I do not see any reason for extradition not to be granted.
All right, so let's just backtrack a little bit. No, September or 2021, year 2021, as the FBI indicted Kibuloy for sex trafficking, child sex trafficking, fraud, money laundering, and related crimes, and placed him on its most wanted list. And yun nga, kaya nagulat nga yung mga tao. He was able to come back here at that time. And then September 2024, that's when he surrendered or caught. Nagkaroon ng ano dyan, di ba? Debate. Oh, tama. After the Davao KOJC standoff, and he has been detained in the Philippines. And then June 2025 is the time when the U.S. formally filed its extradition request through diplomatic channels. And then July 2025 is the request reached the Philippine government. And August 2026, ito na nga, the DOJ confirmed it's evaluating the request. So, ang mangyayari dyan, tulad nung sinabi naman din dun sa report natin, in the court, they will check if kung siya ba talaga si Apollo Kibuloy, siya ba yung gustong extradite ng US, and we'll see kung ano yung magiging ang tawag dito, decision ng court doon. And yun nga kasi, we have to kasi pag ma-convict daw si Kibuloy, meron kasing death penalty sa US, 'di ba? Kung halimbawa ma-extradite siya tapos ma-convict siya doon, we have to make sure na hindi ma-exercise yung conviction na yun kasi meron pa siyang mga kaso dito. Kaya nga very tricky yung magiging desisyon nila kung tapusin ba niya muna dito yung kaso niya or extradite siya doon, matapos na din punta dito.
They're basing everything on the 1994 treaty. But also, there are new rules when it comes to extradition. Before kasi, you could raise it all the way to the Supreme Court. You could challenge it all the way to the Supreme Court. But the new rules say na appeals can only reach up to the Court of Appeals. And they have to issue a decision within 90 days.
Yeah.
And whatever the Court of Appeals ruling is, that's it. It's final. So, mas mapapabilis siya. Instead, the DOJ nga was saying that it's probably gonna take just a few months compared to possibly a few years. And again, extradition isn't new. We have many references already. Back in 1999, si former presidential advisor Mark Jimenez, yung tax evasion cases niya, election contribution offenses sa US. And then, I think this was 2004, the first Filipina who was extradited to the US naman. This was following a double murder charge in California. So, meron din naman binalik sa atin. Nur Meswari, if I remember correctly, and then most recently, si Arnie Teves.
But yung kay Mark Jimenez ata, ang big difference lang yun dito. Wala ata siyang case dito, if I'm not mistaken. Kaya mas napapadali yung ano niya pag-extradite.
Because eventually in 2002, he voluntarily surrendered already. Even though he still tried to fight extradition, the extradition request here, right? It even reached the Supreme Court. But at this stage, the camp of Pastor Apollo Kibuloy cannot file a motion for reconsideration. They can only only do that once the court grants this extradition request. But yesterday, itong si Chief State Counsel Dennis Chanan was also asked, why is it so important for us to honor this 1994 treaty, extradition treaty between the United States and the Philippines? He says it goes a long way in enhancing, of course, our image in the international community, right? It also shows the world that we are serious when it comes to our agreements and our treaties. And if we don't comply with the terms of this treaty, then it will also not look good on
So
us.
if something happens to us naman na kailangan natin yung ano,
Yes.
baka hindi na rin sila, baka hindi na rin nila i-honor yung treaty na yun. But, yun.
All right, and now in other news, Senator Ping Lacson is calling for the abolition of so-called leadership funds in the national budget. Lacson said the practice allows lawmakers to push for projects even while the executive branch is still preparing the national expenditure program. He stressed that the testimony of former Public Works Secretary Manuel Bunoan showed how the system could open the door to budget insertions. Other senators have also questioned the implications of Bunoan's testimony.
Kasi kung doon pa lang sa NEP, naka-insert na, parang ito yung parang sabihin na natin, ito yung descendant ng pork barrel.
I also don't tolerate that there are insinuations that we're doing wrong when we make amendments that are called insertion. Tatawagin ng insertion, tapos may mali siya na.
Siya ang akusado, it would be best that he focuses his defense on proving his innocence rather than dragging our work as legislators into their mess.
Right, but I think the big question is still, how do we make sure that there are really no more allocables, right? Do we just trust the word of our lawmakers? I remember what Congressman Ziad Yong said last week, diba? He made an analogy about the impeachment trial, where if someone borrows money from you, doesn't use it properly, and returns it, would you still trust him again, diba? Knowing na hindi na niya in-honor yung kanyang promise. So it's quite the same here, ano? After everything that we've learned that has come out from the flood control investigations, I think public trust still has to be backed up by a system talaga. We need to see the paper trail of all these budget insertions, amendments, especially because we are in the midst of another budget season and we're talking about hundreds of billions of pesos again.
In a way, diba? Like, you have to remember the pork barrel controversy then from the 2010s. I mean, is this just a new version?
Yun
Because
nga
as Angela
Fancier
mentioned,
name.
diba? Binigyan na ng bagong name eh. Because as Angela mentioned, the primary function of a senator is to create laws.
Draft law,
To draft
craft
laws.
laws, approve the budget.
Yeah.
In the stage where they are allowed to approve the
Yes.
budget, kasi ang nangyayari dito, sinasabi ni Senator Ping Lacson, di ba, nagtitinker sila doon sa budget in the executive level phase.
Yeah.
So it's very important that we stay vigilant, ano, because as we said yesterday, the horse trading also happens during the crafting of the National Expenditure Program. But and then we take a look at that in the BICAM where they supposedly opened it already to the public. But more importantly, also we have to monitor what happens after, right? Once this has been appropriated already, sino ba yung mga contractors na napili? How does the bidding, is the bidding seriously being done, di ba? Talagang binivet ba yan? Or merong favors?
Yeah.
Yan yung kailangan natin bantayan. But good thing is that there's a transparency website already, at least for the DPWH, where you can track the projects, the progress, the contractors. Pero hindi lang ako sure kung updated talaga yan. At kung totoong transparent talaga yan.
Well, I remember also last year they started nga yung pag-open up ng budget deliberation, di ba? Sa public, and there are financial advocates pa nga who attended. And parang if I can remember it correctly as well, nakikita nila na parang kulang pa daw sa transparency, kailangan pa daw ibuksan na yun, tapos nawala na rin yung small committee kung saan nangyayari talaga yung hocus-pocus
Kay
at that
Salvi ko.
time. At sinabi ni Senator Ping Lacson niya, supposedly dapat wala na talaga yung leadership funds nung 2026 pa lang. At kasi nga 2025 nga daw yung most corrupt budget in the PH history, 'di ba? So, hindi natin alam kung ano ang paano nila na isisingit. Sabi nga nila, if there's a will,
There's a way.
No, but see, okay, so again, let's go back to the pork barrel because this is the only other time na pinag-usapan ng mga tao yung hundreds of millions na napupunta sa lawmakers natin. The Supreme Court deemed it unconstitutional
Yeah.
back in
Yes.
2013.
Yes.
That was unanimous. It was a 14-0 vote sa Supreme Court. So ngayon na pinag-uusapan naman natin na Secretary Manny Bonoan said 24 billion.
Exactly. Oo. Just up to the discretion of these senators na Sorry, but do they have expertise ba when it comes to infrastructure
Yeah,
projects,
nga
di ba?
eh. Kumbaga,
Ano yung basehan niyan?
Oo, di ba sabi nila, they created daw ito supposedly, itong leadership funds na 2024, para daw sa mga pet projects, no, infrastructure projects ng mga senador. This is only for members of the upper
yeah.
Congress So iba pa yung
Yeah.
tawag
Iba yung-
siguro yung sa
meron pang
sa
iba.
lower Congress.
Na hundreds.
Oo.
Hundreds of lawmakers ang
Oo.
nandun.
Pero sinasabi nga nila, sige, budget insertions or amendments is not it's not really wrong per se. Kasi like for example, ikaw, yung town ko kailangan ng ganito, baka pwede mo dagdagan.
Then we have-
Pero it's the process along the way that makes it,
A little fuzzy.
Fuzzy.
It's a little fuzzy.
Anomalous.
The gray area in between, no? But yeah, we have so much to say. Octa Research President Ranjit Rai said the hypothetical tandem of Mayor Leni Robredo and Senator Raffy Tulfo is leading in its latest survey, pointing to a more competitive 2028 presidential race. In an interview with 1PH's Sa Totoo Lang, Rai said the Robredo-Tulfo tandem has strengthened over the past 12 months, although the overall race remains close. He identified the Visayas as a key battleground, noting that many voters in the region remain undecided. Rai added that the Tulfo brand is particularly strong in the National Capital Region and the Visayas, complementing areas where Robredo may be weaker. However, he said that if multiple tandems enter the race, support could become fragmented and potentially favor Vice President Sara Duterte, whose voter base remains more consolidated. Okay, so the numbers were...
Pag titingnan natin over the last 12 months, definitely nag-strengthen ang Robredo-Tulfo tandem kasi tambak nga sila whole of last year 15 to 25 points ang lamang ng Duterte Marcos. Ngayon, humabol sila. Pero kung quarter to quarter, parang humina ng konti, no? Yung kay Mayor Leni at saka Senator Raffy. Kasi nung first quarter, ito yung numbers, Duterte, Marcos, 40%. Robredo, Tulfo, 44%. So doon makikita mo talagang may lead sila doon. Nung first quarter of 2026. Pero yung lead na yan, wala na. Technically tied na sila ho. Dikit yung laban. Pero ibig sabihin competitive yung 2028 race natin if the elections were held during the survey period na July 4 to 11.
Yeah.
Pero yung battleground Visayas po, okay? Marami pa hong undecided, no?
Okay, so as mentioned earlier, it's 45% for the Robredo-Tulfo tandem and then 42% for the Duterte-Marcos tandem. So this was conducted July 4 to 11 with face-to-face interviews with 1,200 male and female respondents, 18 years old and above. And then, as mentioned nga, last May, Robredo-Tulfo was at 44% and then Duterte-Marcos at 40%. But going to the point na yung sa NCR, yung different areas, sa NCR kasi, Robredo-Tulfo is at 56%. And then 22% for Duterte-Marcos. But if you go over to Mindanao, which is obviously the Duterte's bailiwick, Duterte-Marcos is at 90%. So depende talaga.
But in terms of the math, statistically, they're statistically tied because it's still within the margin of error. I think that's about 3%. So that's why Octa treats it as it's very competitive. Wala talagang lamang as of now. But I'm curious to see how this will affect, of course, also the decision of Mayor Leni Robredo and Senator Raffy Tulfo because until this day, they haven't really signified if they want to run.
She has repeatedly said
She also,
that she does not.
Alam mo
no
naman.
intentions of running for a national
National.
A
position.
lot can still happen
Ayun na
until
nga. 2026 pa lang.
2028. Diba? Kasi number one, of course, we all know naman how impeachment trial will change the landscape, diba, of our political atmosphere. Diba? Secondly, yung opposition, yung standard bearer nila, wala pa nga. Kasi the line is still blurry kasi nakikita mo, kahit na sinasabi na ni Mayor Leni Robredo na hindi siya tatakbo, there are still supporters, diba? Tapos, there are pocket, anong tawag doon, yung mga gatherings na ang nagsispearhead si VP Leni Robredo. Pero siguro ito ay testing the waters, kung okay pa ba yung suporta ng tao sa kanya, etc. And thirdly, of course, mahati din talaga yung boto nila according doon sa survey na yan kung wala talagang, kung halimbawa more than 2 tandems ng opposition ang magtatakbo against VP Sara, because we all know VP Sara has a very strong, solid base sa Mindanao. At kung mahati yan, 'di ba, medyo tagilid din yon. And then thirdly also, you'll see, kung yung Tulfo brand umaangat, you will see na this will also test na, kapag wala kang balwarte, pwede ka pa rin manalo. 'Di ba kasi usually pag sa election pinag-uusapan natin yung mga bailiwick, 'di ba? Yun yung talaga nagdadala sa kanila. So we'll see what's going to happen. And of course, yung socio-economic class, 50% doon mga millennials, Gen Z, which also brought si Senator Bama Pangilinan, Kiko Pangilinan in the Senate race, 'di ba? Kaya sila nanalo. So we'll see what's going to happen. Meanwhile, Defense Secretary Teodoro is accusing China of extortion and blackmail over its action against more than 100 Filipinos. Chinese authorities say the Filipinos were targeted for allegedly working or living in China illegally. But Teodoro rejects any comparison with Chinese nationals arrested in the Philippines, saying local operations were backed by court-issued warrants and involved suspected illegal activities. The DFA says it is still verifying the number and status of the Filipinos involved. It is also calling on Chinese authorities to ensure their welfare and give Philippine diplomatic posts consular access. Okay. Alright, so sinabi nga ni Defense Chief, sabi niya, the action against 100 Filipinos is plain and simple extortion and blackmail. Kasi parang sinasabi nila, because we have operations here in the Philippines, if you can remember, may mga nahuli na mga allegedly Chinese spy dito sa Philippines. So parang ang sinasabi ni Defense Secretary, ay parang nire-reciprocate yung mga nangyayari dito. But of course, DFA issued a statement and called on the Chinese authority to safeguard the welfare of the arrested Filipinos and to promptly notify our Foreign Service posts of their arrest and detention, consistent nga with the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations and the 2013 Philippines-China Consular Agreement. Ibig sabihin, kailangan nino-notify sila kasi until now parang wala pa daw sila talagang concrete details. Ang alam lang nila, nahuli itong over 100 Filipinos na to working illegally.
Well, this actually also comes after that arrest in Misamis Oriental back in June of about 69 Chinese nationals from Sanjia Steel. They were arrested for using substandard and radioactive materials. But what's more alarming is after that, PAOK Executive Director Benjamin Acorda came out with a statement saying that the Chinese embassy warned him that they will also conduct a raid on Filipinos if they don't release the Chinese nationals. So could this be related to that?
Yeah.
We don't know, but nako, wag naman sana tayo umabot sa pag-extort, di ba?
Yeah, so there was actually a Chinese language newspaper based here in Manila that said it was a countermeasure to that incident. But with the foreign ministry in China, they were saying, national immigration authorities are just making consistent efforts to strengthen supervision of foreigners illegally entering, living, or working in China. But with regard to that the arrests in Misamis Oriental, it was also a safety concern.
Yeah,
because
radioactive materials.
The materials being constructed there are going to be used in infrastructure around the Philippines also. And syempre, yung handling toxic materials, handling all these materials, and shipping it out.
Parang ang daming factors
it's a domino effect din kasi. So kailangan din bantayan yung standards and
So there was a basis for the arrest.
So parang may possible violation ng immigration, labor code, at saka environmental laws yung mga tinignan nila in that specific arrest.
All right, don't go away. Morning Matters will be back after a short break.
Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. And now for the weather, Pagasa is monitoring a new low-pressure area. The LPA was last located 1,970 kilometers east of extreme northern Luzon. It currently has a medium chance of developing into a tropical cyclone, but is moving away from the Philippine landmass. Meantime, the southwest monsoon or habagat continues to affect the country. It is bringing occasional rains over Zambales and Bataan and scattered or isolated rains across the rest of Luzon, as well as in Aklan and Capiz. Now, several local government units have announced class suspensions in their respective areas on Friday, August 14, due to the effects of the southwest monsoon or the habagat. In the National Capital Region, San Juan, Marikina, Malabon, Mandaluyong, Manila, Pasig, and Valenzuela have suspended in-person classes. In Benguet, class suspensions were announced in Baguio, Kibungan, Tublay, Itogon, Kapangan, Atok, Bakun, Bocod, Bugias, Cabayan, La Trinidad, Mancayan, Sablan, and Tuba. Other localities in Pangasinan, Tarlac, Zambales, and Bataan also suspended classes. And similar suspensions were implemented in several areas of Bulacan, Pampanga, and Cavite. Residents in Noveleta, Cavite are building their own flood control defenses as flooding remains a persistent problem in the community. More details in this report.
For decades, flooding has been a problem, and instead of getting better, it only seems to be getting worse. But in one community in Cavite, residents have had enough of the mud and the floods. They prove that if the government can find a way to keep the water out, they'll do it themselves. Using tubular steel, plain sheets and foam, the residents build their own flood barrier.
Taon-taon po talaga bumabaha po dito, lalo na't kapag po malakas yung ulan po. At yun po dahil catch basin po to.
Residents here have their own barriers for their homes, and each alley has one too. But how much did this cost?
Umabot po ng 5 to 6K. Tapos po, yung expenses po ay nag-ano po lang kami, share na lang po sa looban. Yun po.
Mas maganda. Kung makakalit, may budget tayo. Kaya natin gumawa nito.
And while the flooding problem remains, the people of Noveleta have already found ways to improve their DIY defense.
Kasi ano lang talaga to, kahoy. Saka ang pang-ipit lang po namin, hindi po sponge, basahan lang. Tapos yung kahoy po, unti-unting nasira. Kaya po ito, nag-improvise po kami ng bakal na po. At mas na aming napagtanto, mas maganda po yung sponge.
For these residents, a few thousand pesos and some improvisation have provided a measure of protection against flooding. But their homegrown solution also comes as government flood control spending faces intense scrutiny. Billions of pesos have been allocated for flood projects, even as authorities investigate alleged ghost projects, substandard work, and projects left unfinished.
Prosecution Counsel Attorney Lorna Kapunan said lawyers do not have to be aggressive to make a point. In an interview with One News's Political Beat, Kapunan said she could feel defense counsel attorney Christine Ferrer was losing it during Wednesday's impeachment trial. She added that presiding officer Senator Cheese Escudero should also caution Vice President Sara Duterte over her public statements on the impeachment proceedings. Kapunan was reacting to Escudero's remark that lawyers from both sides of the impeachment trial had been crossing the line in their statements.
You don't have to be aggressive to make a point. Sometimes it's even more effective to say it calmly, the way I try to, the way I keep in check. I'm naturally fiery, but I have learned in life that sometimes if you're always like that, when you really mean it, they'll say, she's in one of her bad hair moods. No? So I'm normally very calm. But when the occasion calls for it, like when was it? Like Wednesday, you have to step up to the plate, no? Because it gets lost in the. Kasi pag theatrics ang ginagawa, I don't know if it was a nervous reaction of my opposing counsel, but I could feel that she was losing it. 4 hours of the same points, going back to the same points. I don't want to be critical, but just for cross-examination alone. And that's why I ended when I ended. I felt that the senator said, or feeling enough.
Now at this point, let's get some updates from the Senate. Mobile journalist Marymon Reyes is reporting live. Marymon, go ahead.
Pauline, for next week, the impeachment trial is still set to resume at 10 o'clock in the morning and around 3 in the afternoon to pave way for the plenary session of the Senate from 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. onwards, depending if there would be extensions. Meanwhile, COA State Auditor Celine May del Campo is now excused, and we are expecting Marivic Pareja, records custodian of the House of Representatives, to be called this Monday. According to Attorney Lorna Capunan, Pareja might only take a short time when it comes to testifying, and she will then be followed by the special disbursing officers of the OVP, Gina Acosta, and then later on from the DepEd SDO, Edward Fajarda. And according to Attorney Capunan, yung ibang testimony naman ni Acosta, it will support na lang din kasi may judicial notice na ang impeachment court when it comes to the records of the House doon sa kanilang ginawang committee hearings. So, hindi mawawala sa usapan na they are also planning to formally declare as hostile witnesses itong dalawang SDO, pero baka rin daw hindi kayanin next week itong listahan ng mga witnesses. So, pwedeng mausog, pwede rin umiklip, depende rin daw kasi sabi ni Attorney Capunan, magagaling yung kanilang witnesses na naipresenta so far for this specific article of impeachment alleging the misuse of public funds or the 612.5 million pesos in confidential funds of the OVP and the DepEd. On Monday, Presiding Officer Senator Cesca Litton-Kalaw will also be ruling on the supposed violation of, doon natin malalaman kung prosec ba or defense ang lumabag talaga sa subjudice rule, Rule 18 ng Rules of Court, pati ng Rules of the Senate when it comes to the impeachment proceedings. And nasabi din ni Attorney Capunan, wag lalabasin daw sila ng statement kung sakali man na mayroong mapinpoint na sa lumabag talaga dito. Pero that will not stop them from putting out kung ano raw yung tama, especially sa kanilang members of the bar. Pauline.
All right, well, thank you very much for those updates. I was mobile journalist Merimon Reyes. Now, don't go away because Money Talks with Kathy Yang is up next to get you ahead of the markets. I'm Pauline Verzosa. Stay tuned to One News.
Good morning mga kapatid. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. Vice President Sara Duterte wants Michael Poa to remain part of her legal team in the impeachment trial. Poa says this could mean the defense will appoint a separate spokesperson from outside the legal team. The move comes after Presiding Officer Cesca Litton-Kalaw again warned both camps against public comments that may violate the impeachment court's sub judice rule. For now, Poa says he will continue speaking for the defense but with extra caution. And with us now is Attorney Justin Nicole Goulart, Deputy Spokesperson of the Vice President's Defense Team. Good morning, Attorney. Thank you for joining us. Good to have you on the show.
Good morning, Angela, Pauline, and Cesca. Thank you for having me in your show. And good morning as well to your followers and viewers.
All right, Attorney, first I want to ask you about what transpired last Wednesday before the day 15 trial of Vice President Sara Duterte adjourned. Okay, so your side has complained that about the FB post of Attorney Ligutan. We had Attorney Tolosa Jr. here on the show yesterday, and he raised that if such behavior is prohibited on social media and on media, this should also apply to Vice President Sara Duterte's statement on national television, where she said that the impeachment trial is marred by bending the law. Your thoughts on that?
Well, we think that coming from the defense, Rule 18 of the impeachment rules of procedure should really uniformly apply to all the persons it is subject, all persons subject to it. This includes the senator judges, this includes us lawyers from the defense, the prosecutors. So I have no issue as to the statement of Attorney Tolosa. I respect it, and if the prosecution has concerns as to prior statements made by the Vice President, then I think this matter is best resolved by the impeachment court. We trust the sound discretion of the court in resolving that matter.
But Attorney, how is the defense receiving this warning from the presiding officer to be more cautious with your public statements? I believe he's even preparing rules already governing the statements that you will be making in public. And will the defense now be choosing a new spokesperson given that the respondent Vice President Sara Duterte wants Attorney Michael Poa to remain part of her counsel?
Okay. Allow me to compartmentalize my answer. First, as to how the defense took the statements made by presiding officer Cheese Escudero. We welcome it, to be honestly. We welcome it, and the reason for this is, while there is indeed Rule 18 of the impeachment rules as to its version of the sub judice rule, we all can agree that while it is clear that all the individuals subject to it are disallowed from discussing the merits of the case, there are, so to speak, gray areas. Now, we think this development is welcome so that all the parties, whether it be the defense or the prosecution, is clarified. And we, all the speaking heads for both parties are guided moving forward. And, we could act accordingly. Now, as to your question, as to us, as to Attorney Michael Poa remaining to be a counsel of record, and whether the defense team is considering to appoint a spokesperson that is not entirely part of the councils of record, we're looking into that option. And if the impeachment court does decide that Attorney Michael Poa will have to choose, I think his statements was clear. No, we will explore and look for another spokesperson. Now, as to whether that's happening right now, I am not entirely sure. I think the last statement of Attorney Michael Poa was honestly disclosing that we haven't considered anyone yet. But again, we will adjust accordingly based on the developments and the ruling of the presiding officer this coming Monday.
Well, Attorney, even the House prosecutors have also mentioned that there is quite a stark difference from how the prosecution and the defense interact with each other compared to when it was Attorney Michael Poa who was speaking, and between we've all seen the exchanges between Attorney Capudan and Attorney Ferrer. How would you describe the relationship between the two lawyers? Because we only see obviously what is aired on TV. Do they approach each other? Do they shake hands? Are there things that the public does not see when it comes to these two lawyers?
Okay. First, I'd like to apologize if I could not refer to your names. It's my first time in your program. And really,
No
I'll be
worries,
honest, I don't know who is who. So I'm really sorry.
The one who just asked you a question is Cesca.
I'm Cesca.
I'm Angela.
Okay, thank you. I'm really sorry. I hope
Go
you
ahead,
understand.
Attorney.
This is my first time. But anyway, turning back, let me answer your question. Cesca, lawyers really have different styles in trial. And to me, I respect all my colleagues in the profession, whether it be in the prosecution or whether it be the defense. Meaning that the way they conduct trial, whether it be calm, whether it be spirited, or whatever definition the public has for their actions and behavior, to me, I respect all of those. There is never a best, or a better manner of conducting trial. For as long as you are respectful to the counsel and you do not go outside the bounds of proper decorum. Now, as to your question, and I think this is, just an interaction of two litigants with, different styles, and you saw what happened on Wednesday. I do not want to add fire on that exchange, but let's remember, I think the public should remember that lawyers are really just like that inside the courtroom. The prosecution is advocating for their side, the defense is advocating for their side, and in between, of course, there will be tensions. But this is the interesting part about lawyers, and I think this perfectly answers your second question. When we go out of the court after the proceedings, we're all cordial, we're all professional. We are all aware that we are only doing our jobs, and we respect each other's conduct and manner of conducting the trial. So I don't think there should be any issue on this matter.
Well, you talked about every lawyer has different style, and this was also echoed by Attorney Michael Poa. But I was wondering if it is also the defense strategy na ilagay po si Attorney Ferrer to cross-examine the witness on last Wednesday, at ipang tapat kay Attorney Lorna Kapunan.
Okay, Angela, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's Angela.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Angela, I don't think there's any strategy to the lawyer assigned. Now, we don't think about who. Ganito kasi, Angela. Lawyers have already been pre-assigned to certain matters in relation to the articles of impeachment. I think you've seen that. Now, there is no strategy of, since the prosecution is sending out this lawyer, we're going to send out this lawyer, or vice versa. These are pre-assigned lawyers who have studied their respective articles, who are assigned to a certain task, and based on the developments of the impeachment, they take the stand. They take the podium, as the case may be. So there's no strategy on this.
Okay, Attorney, this is Pauline. Just so that
Thank you.
we're
Thank you
clear
so
on
much.
that. We all know our names already. Yesterday, Attorney, Lorna Kapunan appeared on our sister program, Political Beat, and she said that lawyers do not have to be aggressive whenever they make a point. And she also said that she could feel that defense counsel attorney Christine Ferrer was losing it during the cross-examination. Now, how would you like to respond to that? And maybe tell us also how would you characterize this the style of attorney Christine Ferrer so that maybe we could get a better grasp of how she conducts her trials.
Okay, Pauline, I'll be very careful in answering that question because these are my colleagues in the profession. I don't want to say anything about the way they conduct themselves and their statements. But I'll put this to rest by saying, if Attorney Kapunan, as the prosecutor who was fielded during that trial date, feels as if Attorney Ferrer was being aggressive, then I think she's entitled to say that. Now, if the public sees Attorney Ferrer to be feisty, spirited, they're entitled to say that. Now, if you ask me whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, well, each lawyer is entitled to their own style. And for as long as a lawyer hits her targets, meaning her goals or his goals in a certain proceeding, we think by the end of the day, that's fine. These are idiosyncrasies of trial lawyers. You will meet a lot of personalities in court. Some of them quite, quaint and calm. Some of them a bit more aggressive, others more authoritative. So really, it's a plethora of personalities. Now, as a lawyer, I will respect all their conduct as these are my colleagues. And this is precisely what we are also asking coming from everyone, especially the prosecutors. Na the way we conduct ourselves in trial, let's leave it there because we understand that tensions can be high in the middle of trial. And I think all lawyers can accept that. But outside the impeachment court, beyond the proceedings, I think there is a need for us to remind ourselves that by the end of the day, we are still colleagues in the profession. And even further, we are all humans entitled to mutual respect. Yan lang naman po yung posisyon ng defense.
So for you, Attorney Christine Ferrer wasn't losing it naman when she was doing her cross-examination and when she was also responding to Attorney Kapunan?
Certainly not. Certainly not. If you ask me that, I'd be biased. I think her quips and responses were sharp. So really, that's why I prefer not commenting on this. Because if, the other side feels differently from what I perceive, and that's given because we advocate for different sides. So, and I can accept that reality. And every lawyer in a trial should accept that reality.
All right. Well, Attorney, it's very important for the public to understand what goes on during the impeachment proceedings. And there are some terms, some rules being cited that maybe the general public have no idea what it's all about. Attorney Kapunan, for example, invoked Rule 130 of the revised Rules of Evidence. For the people who are unfamiliar, what exactly is Rule 130 and how does this affect the prosecution and the defense?
Okay, Rule 130 is a very lengthy rule. This pertains to evidence. But I think I'm not trying to put words in the mouth of Attorney Kapunan, but if she's referring to the exchange that she had with Attorney Ferrer, I think the more accurate rule is Rule 132, Section 10. This is leading and misleading questions. This is actually the rule which states that leading questions are allowed in instances, among others, during cross-examination, and subparagraph 2 of that rule actually states that misleading questions are not allowed even during cross-examination. Now, let's clarify, misleading questions for the benefit of the public listening. Misleading questions are questions that assume facts that was not testified upon by the witness or states facts that is contrary to the testimony of the witness. In other words, you're misleading a witness. A basic example is this. If in a trial, you ask the witness, if in a trial the witness testified that he woke up in the afternoon, and during your cross-examination, you ask the witness, so what did you do when you woke up in the morning? That's misleading because the witness already testified that he woke up in the afternoon. So this is precisely the exchange. I hope the public will note those distinctions. It's very technical. Even some lawyers find difficulty in making those distinctions.
Well, Attorney, I want to go back to the manifestation of Attorney Sheila Sison about the Facebook post of Attorney Digutan. Can you tell us how was that a violation of sub judice rule when, from an ordinary perspective, he didn't really talk about the merits of the case? It's just that he talked about misleading question. What is misleading question? Is it allowed in the court, etc.? Go ahead, Attorney.
Okay. If you check the rules, Rule 18, if I'm not mistaken, or somewhere in the impeachment rules, I'm just not sure if it's under Rule 18, but I think it is. It's not just about sub judice. It's also about proper court decorum. If you review the rules, there's actually a statement that requires the parties and people inside the impeachment court to maintain proper decorum. And secondly, in fact, if you revisit it, if I'm not mistaken, I think when these rules were crafted, even using phones in the middle of a proceeding is prohibited for participants. Please fact check me on this, and I am okay if I'm mistaken, but that's the point. Now, if you try to look back at the statements of Attorney Sheila Sison, it was really a question on the propriety of the demeanor of a private prosecutor. One can say that it is not sub judice also, but I think this was already explained by the manifestation of Attorney Sheila Sison, that it was clearly appointed post in a relevant part of the proceeding of the case. Now, what is the position of the defense on this? I think the sub judice rule, Rule 18, should be uniformly applied to us, our client, the senator judges, and the prosecutors. And we will respect any finding of the presiding officer as to infractions that anyone may have made. Secondly, I think the issue from the defense, because we're now discussing that manifestation, was really the fact that was really a question of propriety, Angela. Is it right for a lawyer to make such post who is part of the proceedings in the middle of the proceedings itself? And to answer that question, we leave it to the impeachment court. I'm not gonna say whether it's wrong or right, but you've heard us. We said what needed to be said, and we leave it to the sound discretion of the impeachment court. Because the underlying principle coming from the defense is simple. We're in an impeachment proceeding. We are before the institution, and while we are all passionate about our sides, there has to be a distinction between courtroom advocacy and public commentary. Now, if you're a public that is not part, if you're part of the public that is not part of the proceeding, then by all means, dictates of freedom of expression will allow you to make public commentaries. But if you are in the proceeding itself, the courtroom advocacy. We think there are limitations.
Yeah.
And there is a proper decorum for that. Now, I will not answer and I will not expound further. Again, the defense prefers not to advocate for our sides in the media. But we said what we needed to be said and we hope the impeachment court decides on the matter. Yan lang po naman ang hiling natin.
Well, as you mentioned earlier, attorney, lawyers have their different styles, and it's up to him or her if they want to be aggressive, they want to be calm, as long as he or she hits their targets. So going to the cross-examination of Attorney Christine Ferrer on State Auditor Cylene Del Campo, do you think the defense was able to make its case? And what were the key points that you think the defense was able to establish from that?
Okay, now Cesca, right?
Pauline.
Pauline, kita nyo?
Okay lang,
Mahirap
attorney.
eh.
We'll get it
I'm
one
new
day.
to this. I'll get it. Anyway, now I'll be careful answering that question kasi there was just a recent reminder from the presiding officer not to, violate Rule 18. Now, if I answer your question and to tell you the highlights of the evidence, that's already pointed and that's already biased on my end. So, I think what the public should just do is listen to the cross-examination, particularly the questions made by the cross-examiner and the answers of the witness, and make their own, opinion about the evidence. As to me, saying what evidence was proven, what was highlighted, what was questioned, I hope you understand, and I'm really sorry. I will, refrain from discussing that. But the public is not without recourse. There are a lot of sharp colleagues in the profession who has been given, objective and commentaries. These are welcome. I hope you pardon me, Pauline, for not answering that question.
Okay, I'll try to rephrase my question, attorney. Now, maybe you can answer this. What does the defense think about the order of presentation? Because right now, the prosecution is first, they're presenting all their articles already. And does this put the respondent and the defense at a disadvantage because you will be presenting towards the end of this trial? So there have been suggestions already to have an alternate presentation. But would you be amenable to that? Would you be pushing for that? Or are you fine with the current setup?
I think, Pauline, this has already been discussed weeks prior when the presiding officer asked both parties whether an alternating presentation of evidence would be acceptable to proof. And I think the defense has already declined that. Now, as to the order of the presentation, with the prosecution being able to present first, establish their case first, and, thresh out their evidence, this is not disadvantageous, and we do not see any problem on this because really this is how court proceedings are done. The prosecution really has to present first. But the question we need to ask is this, and the public should understand this. Why is the prosecution required to present evidence first? Because in jurisprudence, the accused is not even obligated to present any evidence because the burden of proof shall always remain with the prosecution. In other words, there are cases, even, Pauline, in courts that after the prosecution presents evidence, the accused files a demurrer to evidence, which is basically questioning whether at this point of the proceeding, after presentation of the prosecution, the evidence is already sufficient to convict or does not establish reason or does not meet the quantum of evidence, and nade-dismiss siya even prior to the defense presentation. So now, as to the defense on why it's our position that it is better to maintain this, it's really because of the simple fact that the prosecution is still burdened, even at this point, to present evidence and establish their case. And our client, the Vice President, even at this point, is still entitled to her constitutional right of being presumed innocent of these impeachment charges.
Well, attorney, just recently the Department of Justice filed 3 counts of grave threats against the Vice President. They dismissed inciting to sedition, while the DOJ and the impeachment court are 2 completely separate entities with their own set of rules. Will this affect public perception, and how should the defense address, the possible effect this has on the court of public opinion?
Well, I think the matter that should be clarified in relation to that Cesca, I think I got it.
Yes.
Right, is that the filing of an information report is not a finding of guilt. You know, the requirement in preliminary investigation is just for there to be prima facie evidence with reasonable certainty of conviction. That is the requirement for the Department of Justice to file an information report. Now, the fact that the public should be aware is that under our laws, once an information is filed in court, the fact of the matter remains is that the client is still innocent for all intents and purposes and is still presumed innocent. Now, to answer your question as to whether the defense will respond to this, whether this affected the court of public opinion, well, the impeachment proceeding is really a political proceeding in nature. And people are all entitled to make their opinions as to the filing of that information. And, I leave it up to them to determine what is the relevance of that filing of that information. Now, as to the defense strategy, I hope you understand we will not disclose how we will meet that possible filing of information. What I can say is, let's just wait for our turn. Once we will be the ones to present evidence in relation to Article 4, which is grave threats.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Attorney Justin Nicole Goulart. And hopefully next time, alam mo na yung name namin, Attorney, ha? That's your assignment. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Angela. Ayan, tama na. Thank you, Angela, Pauline, and Cesca.
All right. More matters to discuss after this quick break. Keep it here on the News.
Good morning. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. Energy Secretary Sharon Garin says system loss charges should be removed gradually, not all at once. Garin told the Big Story that consumers should not have to pay for electricity they did not use, including losses from power theft. But she noted that a phased approach is needed while utilities upgrade meters and improve transmission and distribution lines to reduce power losses. Garin added that bringing some system losses down to zero is possible, but reforms must come first.
Yes, there are issues in systems loss. And the President is correct naman to say na dapat hindi binabayaran ang hindi kinukonsumo ng mga tao. No? And they're paying, actually, systems loss makes you pay for those who do not pay.
Yes, yung nagnanakaw ng kuryente.
So, that's correct. That's unfair, di ba? Pero there are other parts and may mga technical. I'm sure you've heard this already, technical and non-technical.
Right.
But is it impossible? No, it's not impossible. It's possible to bring it down or even bring it to zero yung mga pilferage na yan. So it's you cannot do this drastically. There has to be gradual phasing of removal of system loss because there are things that we have to fix. Halimbawa, yung metro, kailangan modern siya para mas mas accurate, no? Yung mga linya natin, transmission natin, distribution lines natin, kailangan yan it's more sophisticated in a sense na less ang nawawala habang nagta-travel yung electricity. So there are things that we need to change until we can fully implement the zero systems change.
Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalog said it is not the right time to identify lawmakers he claims were involved in alleged budget insertions. In an interview with One News's Political Beat, Magalong questioned whether some members of the House prosecution team took action against Zaldi Co despite allegedly knowing about the budget insertions. Magalong said those involved already know who they are, particularly lawmakers who were close to Co and former House Speaker Martin Romualdez. House Prosecutor Representative Terry Ridon challenged Magalong to name the lawmakers he was referring to, saying such allegations should be supported by evidence.
Alam mo, not the right time for me to name all these people, ano. Pero makikita mo naman during their time before the election. Kita mo yung mga pronouncement nila noon, di ba? Kung hindi kay speaker o kaya dahil kay speaker, meron tayong AKAP. Dahil kay speaker, meron tayong mic. Dahil kay speaker, mga ganun mga statement nila. At alam mo naman na sila yung mga nakapaligid dyan kay Saldico. Ang tanong ko sa kanila, alam naman nila, public knowledge na kung ano ang extent and level of involvement and depth of involvement ni Saldico. Pero meron ba silang ginawa? Nag-file ba sila ng complaint? Public knowledge kung ano yung mga pinaggagawa ni Saldico. Did they ever took action against him?
Malacanang says Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment case is separate from the criminal charges she faces. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro says there is no conflict in having cases against the Vice President proceed separately before the Senate and the courts. The Justice Department has filed a grave threats case against Duterte over her remarks threatening President Bongbong Marcos and the First Family. The Vice President's camp has since asked the court to dismiss the case.
Iba po ang nature ng criminal case, iba yung nature ng impeachment. So, sa impeachment proceedings kasi, dito inaalam kung yung leader ay dapat na maging leader pa. Yung kanyang kapasidad, yung kanyang mental health, yung anger management, ito lahat ay dapat na nakikita kung ikaw ay magiging leader. Ang criminal case naman, ito ay yung liability. The video in full. Ang effect nun is, there is this intention, so hatred, against the president, against the government. So, it is not just a simple grave threats. There is this element of inciting to sedition.
PLDT Incorporated reported a 2% drop in first-half core income, but remains optimistic about stronger growth in the second half of 2026. Mobile journalist Fatima Baduria reports.
PLDT Incorporated's core income slipped 2% in the first half of the year, weakened by a challenging economic environment in that period as well as higher expenses. The telco today reported it earned 16.6 billion in core income, down from a little over 17 billion a year ago. Breaking down the numbers, gross service revenues rose by the same amount, 2%, to 108.7 billion pesos. The figure was pulled up by the enterprise business as well as data and fixed wireless. But expenses also climbed, rising faster than revenues at 4%, or about 84.8 billion pesos. Higher amortization and depreciation also ate into earnings. Nevertheless, EBITDA inched up 1% to just a little over 56 billion pesos for the period. Still, despite macroeconomic headwinds, PLDT Chairman and CEO Manuel V. Pangilinan remains optimistic for the second half of 2026.
We share the hope that the second half will be better than the first half.
One area that's been a surprise upside, data centers.
The data centers are doing well because you have local locators and foreign locators that are starting to come in or become aware of the potential of the Philippines as a data center hub. So they're not subject to our GDP growth.
Yes. PLDT is targeting the fourth quarter for what could be the Philippines' first data center IPO, worth over 24 billion pesos. Overall, core income for PLDT held steady at 17.3 billion pesos, pulled up by the sustained profitability of Maya, its digital banking arm. As of June 2026, Maya's deposit balance jumped 71% on year to 86 billion pesos, while loans outstanding shot up 56% on year to 39 billion pesos. For the first half of the year, PLDT's capital expenditures dropped to 20.7 billion, lower than the 27.4 billion it had set aside. Asked about the profitability of PLDT's sister media companies, Pangilinan said he expects them to do better this year too, and the next step is to invest in more content.
Doing better this year, especially Signal, which lost money last year, no? So cut back on expenses, etc. So Signal should do better this year, and can help TV5. TV5 itself, slightly better. So with Vice Ganda and some other content.
The chairman was also asked about rumors he was in talks to invest in ABS-CBN, which has indirectly received a lifeline from fellow tycoon Ramon Ang, who bought into its parent firm Lopez Incorporated.
There are no discussions. There are no. We're not thinking of anything with ABS, except the arrangements where they show some of the content. Black time or I don't know, co-prod situation, and yun lang. That's the arrangement now, and that's how I foresee it. Because I think I read on Bloomberg before I left for here that the headline, ABS raising about 6 billion.
From the family.
Oh, so that's good. Good for them.
Kapatid Fatima Baduria, We Are One News.
Stay tuned. Morning Matters returns after a quick break.
Good morning. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. Disney on Ice is bringing Let's Dance to audiences, featuring Mickey Mouse and friends in a high-energy celebration of Disney hits from Frozen 2, The Little Mermaid, Moana, and The Lion King. The show features more than 40 Disney characters, including Elsa, Anna, Olaf, Moana, and Stitch, who will bring his signature playful energy to the ice. Fans can expect high-flying skating stunts, aerial performances, colorful lights, and special effects, creating an immersive experience both on and above the ice. The production also features interactive dance and sing-along segments, inviting audiences to join the Disney characters in the celebration. And now we're joined by 3 talented skaters bringing Disney on Ice's Let's Dance to life. Clarice Roman, Sophie Sananicon, and Allison White. Good morning and welcome to Morning Matters. Thank you for joining us today despite the weather.
Thank you for having us.
Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat.
Kabayan! All right, Disney on Ice. I mean, we always hear about this, and you know, children are very excited. They look forward to this. So what can Filipino fans expect from Disney on Ice Let's Dance?
10 years na po ako sa Disney on Ice, and alam natin na Filipino is one of the best audiences in the world.
Oh, sasayaw talaga.
And we all love to sing along and dance. So this year, this show is for everyone. So we have a holiday sing-along with Santa, Goofy, and Donald, and it's included on your ticket.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, Sophie, again, like every year, there's something happening with Disney on Ice. So what makes Let's Dance different from previous Disney on Ice productions?
Yeah, so this is a brand new show that was built just a couple years ago. And Let's Dance, we just wanted to get the energy out there. And what makes this show different is that it's so interactive. There will be lyrics on the screen for everyone to help sing along. And during the Lion King segment, Timon and Pumbaa, they help teach everyone how to dance as well. And Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Goofy, they're all DJs, and they take you on this magical and musical journey and remix all of your favorite Disney songs. And they just encourage everyone to just have fun and celebrate the holiday tradition with us.
Well, you guys picked the right country because Filipinos will sing along. Okay, whether we sound great or not, we will sing along.
Good.
But we usually sound great. All right, well, Sophie, for Allison, I mean, I'm sure you all each have your own favorite parts of the show, but Allison, for you personally, which one is yours?
So personally for me, my favorite part of Disney on Ice Presents Let's Dance is Frozen 2. I have a little sister, so I feel like I understand the Elsa and Anna situation a little bit, and we have a really high energy group number. Some things never change, because some things never change. Yeah, and even Olaf has his own solo in that segment. Yeah.
Okay, so will Filipino fans be treated to the classic Disney songs? Yung mga lumalabas sa cartoons na napapanood, will this be the same music that we'll be hearing?
For this show, we have 5 Disney stories. So we have Wish, we have my favorite movie, Moana, we have Lion King.
Yes. The Little Mermaid, and then Frozen 2. Yes, so The Little Mermaid is a good classic, and it's my favorite as well.
With With all your years of experience in Disney on Ice, which cartoon would you say, or which characters would you say elicit the biggest reactions from the crowd?
That's so
or
hard to
depending?
decide.
I know, but I feel like it also depends on the age range, like the age group,
Yeah.
and yeah.
There's so many reveals in this show,
Yeah.
big reveals. So I don't want to give anything away, but I will say Olaf is always such a big hit.
Yeah.
Everyone goes crazy and is so loud when they see Olaf.
Yeah, and for this show, my favorite is DJ Mickey.
Oh!
He's
And
so cool.
we also have a special guest on this show,
Yes.
DJ Stitch, which he might cause some chaos, but you're just gonna have to go to the show and watch.
Yeah.
We love Lilo and Stitch. Ohana means family. Family means no one gets left behind.
Yes.
All right. So with all the stunts, the high flying jumps, aerial performances, for the skaters, I'm sure the training, the rehearsals. I mean, this can be such a physically taxing production. For you guys, what is the most challenging part of it all?
For me, being in the show, we are all family. We always support each other. And for me, being on the ice is my happy place. And just seeing all the kids dress up as their favorite Disney, it inspires me to do shows and especially to perform here in Philippines. I'm very excited to play in hometown and bring this amazing show here.
Yeah, we all grew up as ice skaters, so joining Disney on Ice and doing all the rehearsal process to learn the acrobatics, and I even had to learn how to juggle for the show. So that was very challenging,
skill
but I got
unlocked.
it. Yes, new skill unlocked, but yeah, these skaters, they learn how to fly off these ramps and do acrobatics on leer hoops in the air, so every year we just want to go bigger and better, and the skaters, they just take it to a next level, up in the air, on the ice, and swaying around. It's amazing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's really cool how we all come together and, you know, as performers, we are very dedicated to our craft and we always try and take it up a notch and, you know, support each other through those challenges. But at the end, like, the payoff is amazing. Like, you get to perform for so many people and it's such a crazy experience, you know, like, just
It's
the
magical.
end result,
It's
it's
so
just so magical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the reaction is very inspiring.
Yeah.
It makes us very proud.
Yeah.
But again, because for the audience, we see the end product. We see what you guys do on the ice as the show is meant to be. But behind the scenes, that's where the real work is put in. So how do you train for this? How do you physically and mentally prepare for a show of this magnitude?
Aside from skating, I love doing yoga during days
Okay.
off. So it just helps with continuously moving the body and also the mind and meditating.
For me, me and my friends, but during our warm-up before the show, we just like to put on a song and have a little dance party and dance it out and just get us in a good mood for the show.
Loosen up already.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's not preparing my body in any way, but mentally, the way I get ready for a show is I have to put on my left skate before I put on my right skate. It's just, I always have to, and then I know I'm gonna have a good show. So.
Do you get to meet some of the audience members? Do the kids get to meet the characters?
Sometimes, but we also have DJ Freeze in the show, and it's a pre-show. So, which I had the honor to be DJ Freeze.
Oh.
So I got to go out before the show, play some really cool Disney mixes, and just get the audience pumped up, talk to everyone, get them excited for the show, and yeah.
What would you say would be the best reaction that you've gotten so far?
As DJ Freeze?
As DJ Freeze.
As DJ Freeze, I love doing a call and response. It's so fun. So when I say Mickey, when I say Mickey, you say Mouse. Mickey, Mouse, Mickey. And it's so loud and it's so much fun. It gets them excited.
Therese, as a Filipina being part of Disney on Ice, para sa'yo, when you perform here in the Philippines, what's the best part of it all?
Best part is just hearing everyone sing. while we all perform and dance. That is the best part for me.
Well, Allison, when it comes to performing for Disney on Ice, for you, what is the best part of everything?
The best part is seeing the little kids out there smiling. I remember when I was a kid, I went to Disney on Ice with my family growing up, and I knew that this is what I wanted to do. And so to be able to give back and to bring so much joy to all of these kids is just, it's amazing.
All right. Well, okay, I'm gonna say that millennial parents are basically Disney babies with adult money. So, what is in it for the parents? Because we all grew up watching Disney cartoons as well. We all grew up watching Disney. It's just now it's the children's turn to enjoy this. So to bridge that generation together is a very special thing. So what do you feel should the parents, look forward to as well?
So this show is for everyone. So dito sa Pilipinas, we have Disney on Ice. It's part of our holiday tradition. So this is a way to bring all your entire family, and the ticket is 300 peso.
Okay.
I would say for me, what was the question again? Sorry.
What do the adults have to look forward to?
Okay, so there is a very special moment in the show, I think, in The Lion King, Circle of Life. It has all of the animals. We have giraffes, cheetahs, flamingos, and the song is just so powerful. Nala and Simba are up high, and it's just a full circle moment, I think, for the millennials and for the children as well.
Yeah, Allison?
Yeah, I was gonna say there's so many cool aspects to this show, and like so many things that you just don't even know how are humanly possible with the aerial acts in the show and the extreme skaters in the show. Like, adults and kids are gonna walk out and be like, whoa, like what did I just see? Like, that's crazy. So I'm so excited for everyone to see. There's not just things happening on the ice, there's also things happening in the air, and you don't know where to look. It's amazing.
But we're not gonna cry like we did when we watched The Lion King, right? Because that was so I'm glad you mentioned this, because when there is an ice skating production, there's so many things going on. So as you mentioned, there's aerial stunts, there's stuff going on the ice itself. So for you, where should people focus? Where should people draw their attention?
Sa arena, kahit saang seat, we have so many.
Any area.
Yeah, any area. If you're sitting on the side, there's performance there. If you're sitting up or you're staying up, your performance there. So everyone can see the show. Yeah, everyone can see the show.
Yeah, I would say the same too. There's something happening everywhere. There's also sway poles that skaters have learned. They climb up the pole and then they sway back and forth, almost like they're falling into the audience.
Yeah. It's so interactive. You're literally no spot in the arena. You're not gonna see something. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're always going to see something new from wherever you're sitting.
Yeah. All right. Well, the thing with Disney also is, there's that Disney magic. So what for you is the most magical part of Disney on Ice?
Magical part is just sharing this experience with the kids. And also as a Filipina, I hope after they watch the show, I can inspire some kids to try figure skating, and hopefully they can join us. We could be more Filipino skaters in Disney on Ice.
Yeah, I would say, just spending time and creating memories with your friends and family, and getting lost in the Disney magic and being inspired by, following your dreams and, pursuing anything that just seems too far-fetched is so magical.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's magical for me because obviously all of us get to travel around and do this and perform for so many different people, and so we get to bring the magic to people, and we get to bring it to the Philippines this November and December. So it's so exciting.
Yes, and also Cebu for the first time. We're bringing Disney on Ice Cebu.
Nice. All right. So before we let you go, of course, people need to know when, where, how they can watch Disney on Ice. So whoever wants to invite everyone, please take it away.
Iniimbitahan ko po kayong lahat to join us for a holiday season. We will have a show at SM Seaside Cebu and SM Mall of Asia Arena for November and December.
Yes. Get your tickets at ticketmaster.ph. Find a show time or a show date that works best for you. And again, starting at 300 pesos. So bring all your friends, family.
Yeah, we can't wait to see you there.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much, professional skaters Clarice Roman, Sophie Sananicon, and Allison White for joining us this morning. Don't go away, Morning Matters will be back after a short break.
Good morning, mga kapatid. You're still watching Morning Matters. And we're back. Yeah, we're not Mickey Mouse.
So that's it for today's news. But before we go, we're going to talk about our takeaways from today's stories. I personally can't wait for December to watch Disney on Ice.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna see Mickey Mouse today, but I saw him earlier on Frontline sa umaga.
Bakit ako hindi ko nakita si Mickey Mouse?
Wow!
Remember when we were kids, we would watch Disney on Ice. It's really a family tradition. Every time it's Christmas, especially, and I like what Cesca mentioned earlier, that millennial parents are Disney babies with
adult money.
Adult money.
So save up for it, or do splurge your money. It's a perfect way to spend time with your children and to spend that money.
It's great bonding time also because the parents can still relate sa mga Disney cartoons, diba? From what we watched, well, hindi naman ako parent, but I mean from what I watched when I was a kid, to this day, it holds up kasi yung classic Disney.
Especially the OG ones like Cinderella, Snow White,
Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid.
Lion King. Lion King is always fun to watch.
Well, naiiyak ako dun eh. So,
the new characters are also cute. Ayan sila, Olaf, right?
Elsa, Anna.
Moana is our warrior princess. But anyway, just the same, please do take care. It's still raining outside, and do stay tuned here on One News for more details on the, our weather and other news that you need to know.
There's a low pressure area that Pagasa is monitoring outside PAR, and there's a medium chance that it could develop into a tropical depression. So it's still going to be a rainy weekend.
Yeah, enjoy your weekend before you watch another series of impeachment trial next week. It's going to be day 16.
Anong episode
the two hostile witnesses.
We have to keep track. Week 7, day 16.
Okay.
And then we're also expecting a ruling from Presiding Officer Chis Escudero yata on the social media posts and all that. No?
And Marivic Pareja will be the next witness for the prosecution, but they said that they anticipate that it will just be really quick because after that, they will be calling on the special disbursing officers, Gina Acosta and Edward Fajarda, who will be hostile witnesses for the prosecution, and magiging exciting daw eh. Ako nag-aantay na ako eh.
But actually, I wanted to ask earlier kay Attorney Hular na, okay, point taken yung sinabi niya, this is not just about sub judice rule, but also the conduct of the lawyers in the courtroom. Pero I wanna ask him kasi from an ordinary perspective, ang nakita natin doon na sinabi talaga ni Attorney Ferrer, when Attorney Lorna Capunan said misleading questions are not allowed, she said it is allowed. Pero doon sa manifestation ni Attorney Season, parang it's a different kind of take na parang sinasabi nila, hindi yun yung ibig niyang sabihin. So I wanted it coming from him sana kung ano yung naintindihan nila doon sa nangyari. But anyway, there's a new episode. Episode talaga. New trial, impeachment trial sa Monday. So we'll see what's going to happen there. On the merits of the case pa rin naman. Still on the article of impeachment. 1, right? Alleged misuse of confidential funds. And that wraps up today's episode of Morning Matters. I'm Angela Lagunzad-Castro.
We hope we've given you just the right start to your morning. Please stay safe, stay dry. I'm Cesca Litton-Kalaw.
Let's make the day matter. I'm Pauline Verzosa. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you again on Monday.
Kapatid, we are One News.
Your side,
all the time.